There's a lot of research that backs up how impactful this can be to improve mental health. And that's what really gets me excited. I know there's like a impeding mental health crisis that's already here, and a lot of people are suffering with all the chaos that's going on in the world. So to be able to bring a natural solution for that is very exciting for me, and that's what we're focused on at Eons. That's why the whole company was created, to build safety and trust around mushrooms so that we could roll out legal psychedelic microdosing and pave the way for psilocybin.
Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Goel from Peak Human Labs, and today I have a very special guest, Alex Wolfe from Eons, and we're going to be talking about a really cool product out there that Eons has released that's going to make your life better. And stay tuned, and we'll see you on the other side. Hey, Alex, thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you.
All right. We're basically doing this because Eons has come out with a new product, which I think is groundbreaking. And I thought we've been kind of waiting to hold off on doing this podcast till we had it in your hands. I don't have it in my hands, but I think you have it.
I have it in my hands, literally. Yeah, it's right here. It's a long time in the making.
It's one of those things definitely worth talking about because, we've heard all about psychedelics and different mushroom supplements, but we're going to be talking about something different, new, really not out there. So I'm pretty excited about that. So maybe before we even get into that, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and Eons?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Sanjeev. I'm excited to get into this stuff. For those that don't know me, my name is Alex Wolfe. I'm a serial entrepreneur. The current company that's my baby that we're talking about today is Eons. It's my fourth venture. I've had a couple successful exits, but super passionate about this one because of the impact that we can make around mental health. As Sanjeev, you mentioned, psychedelics can play a revolutionary part in mental health. We just need some more studies and some more clinical trials around it. But everything that's come out over the years on psilocybin and MDMA and ketamine and this kind of stuff, there's a lot of research that backs up how impactful this can be to improve mental health. And that's what really gets me excited. I know there's like a impeding mental health crisis that's already here, and a lot of people are suffering with all the chaos that's going on in the world. So to be able to bring a natural solution for that is very exciting for me, and that's what we're focused on at Eons. That's why the whole company was created, to build safety and trust around mushrooms so that we could roll out legal psychedelic microdosing and pave the way for psilocybin. So this product that I just mentioned, it does not contain psilocybin, but it contains another active ingredient that I'm sure we'll talk about today that is fully legal in the United States and Canada and many countries around the world. So we could study it, we could research it, we could advertise it, we could sell it, we could pay taxes on it, and we could start to show people that, psychedelic mushrooms are extremely beneficial. There's nothing to be scared about, and we could do it in a responsible way and really start helping people with mental health.
Take us through what makes this is, you're saying it's not psilocybin, but is it still a psychedelic?
Yeah, it is. There's many different types of mushrooms out there that I'm sure the audience is probably aware of, and they fall into different categories. Most known is probably the edible mushrooms you buy at the grocery store or at restaurants, like, portobello and shiitake. And then there's functional mushrooms that can also be considered medicinal mushrooms. And that's how Eon started off, was selling, reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps in formulas to help modern day problems. And then there's psychedelic mushrooms. And in the psychedelic mushroom category, there's many different species. And most people just associate psychedelic with psilocybin. Psilocybin is the most commonly known psychedelic active ingredient in mushrooms. However, there's other mushrooms that contain different active ingredients. And the one that we're talking about today is a very famous mushroom. I'm sure once I get into it, the majority of the audiences are actually probably very familiar with this mushroom, whether they realize it or not. And I think that's like the genius of this mushroom. It's so intelligent that it's made itself into our pop culture. It's made itself into, your psyche. And it's also made itself legal this whole time. It's not illegal. And it contains another active ingredient that's not psilocybin. It's called muscimol. And we're going to get into muscimol today, about how beneficial this active ingredient actually is. And it's truly remarkable.
So just before we get into muscimol, you said mentioned that psychedelic mushrooms normally contain psilocybin or psilocin. DMT would be another one that people are kind of familiar with. It's found in not mushrooms necessarily, but other plants. So
Yes,
these are kind of what people are kind of normally thinking about when they think about psychedelic. The word psychedelic means, basically soul revealing. And I
that's
guess,
right.
so is this muscanol, is it the same thing? Is it going to have that type of effect?
Muscimol is
Muscimol, yeah.
psychedelic by nature, but it is different than psilocybin. So it works on a different receptor of the brain. Psilocybin works on the serotonin receptor. So it
Mhm.
affects, um,
5-HT2A, yeah.
exactly. You
5-HT2A
know it. You know
receptor,
it.
yeah.
And this one works on, I love it. And this one works on the GABA receptor, which you can elaborate on more, and I'm sure.
Sure.
The receptor that affects anxiety, addiction, PTSD, and this kind of stuff. So
Mhm,
it works on a different part of the brain. You could use both of these together, and it works
mhm,
very well because now you're covering both receptors.
mhm,
But as far as the psychedelic component of it, it's quite different than psilocybin. There's
mhm.
no hallucinogenic effect.
Yeah,
There's nothing like that. For the user experience, what they're going to feel, Dr. Sanjeev, is they're going to feel like a wave of calmness sweeps over them when it coats their GABA receptor and it binds the
right.
receptor. They feel like this wave of calmness. The
Mhm,
mind is quieted down, and
mhm,
now you have space around your thoughts again, where you can think clearly and make better
mhm.
decisions. We all know once you're thinking clearly and calm that you
Because
can
you're
make
calm.
more optimal decisions. And that's what it does, is induces a state like that. It's a very micro dose that we're talking about. Yeah, that's essentially what the user will feel. However, the psychedelic component to it that you're alluding to is working on your subconscious mind.
Mm,
And that's where it's like the soul revealing. Like in the subconscious mind is where everything is stored from when we were born into this life, this world. So
mhm,
all our memories are there, all their beliefs, all our thought patterns, our traumas, all this stuff is stored in our subconscious mind. And what this
mhm,
mushroom does is it will slowly start to reveal things to you that are stored in your subconscious, and you
mhm,
can observe them, you could reflect on them. It just kind of hits you like an insight, and it's like, oh wow,
mm,
that's why I do that, or that's why I think this way, or that's why I believe this thing. And then you
mhm.
could start to unwind those limiting beliefs or thought patterns and make changes in your life, and then you're headed in a new direction, and then you reach a new destination because you're going a completely new way.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. GABA receptor is the receptor that makes you calm. It provides it's basically an inhibitory neurotransmitter, basically calms things down, used for anxiety. It's the same receptor that alcohol acts on,
Hmm.
and it's the same receptor that these sleeping medications act on. That's why they work on and reducing anxiety, like diazepam and things like that. So my question is, it must be beyond just the GABA, because I mean, you could use alcohol or you can use the sleeping medications if you want to have an effect on GABA receptors. And maybe there's more to different types of GABA receptors. I'd be curious on your thoughts on this. And also, you said about the unveiling of the subconscious. Is that happening through some other mechanism? Like, does anybody know that?
Well, I have this book here on my desk, Microdosing with Amanita Muscaria, and it goes
Right.
into it pretty detail where they studied the microdosing effects on this on thousands of people in
Mm,
Russia and Eastern Europe and Siberia. And these people came to this program, this trial for microdosing with all different kinds of ailments, way worse than anxiety, even with severe
mhm,
addiction and depression and alcoholism and insomnia and PTSD and all this kind of stuff. And the remarkable thing that blew me away was by just microdosing this mushroom,
mhm,
really, really high numbers of people were seeing amazing results on not only healing this stuff, but curing their ailments. So
mhm,
I think what's going on here, and it dives into it in the book as well, is that it's really unlocking things in the subconscious. And the subconscious is really a supercomputer, I think, of our being that stores everything. So once you start to recode the subconscious mind, you're creating a new mind. You're creating a new program for yourself to run on. It gets into the experiences of the users in this, and it gets into the data. It
mhm,
doesn't dive into really the science of how it's working into the
mhm.
body, but the results that I've seen in this and with my close friends and family and stuff like that is truly remarkable.
So you've mentioned the mushroom now. You've done the big reveal. Amanita muscaria, right? Is that
Yes.
That's the name. Well, I did a little bit of a search. I mean, when people start searching this up, they see like toxic mushroom.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a chance of overdose? I mean, this muscarinic acid, which is I think muscanol or something, derivative of that, can potentially be you could take too much of it. Is that possible?
Well, yes, you could take too much of it if you were to eat the mushroom raw. So if you
Mm,
just ate the mushroom, like you saw it growing in the forest or something, you picked it, you ate too much of it. I believe it's the ibotenic acid that is what
mm,
causes the nausea and potentially other, pretty severe symptoms as well. So I would never recommend to eat the mushroom raw, but when it's decarboxylated,
mm,
it basically evaporates the ibotenic acid. Now that eliminates that ingredient that causes the issues, and now you're left with muscimol. And muscimol is very safe, especially in low doses. But we
mhm,
put this to the test. I knew I would be asked this question on
mhm,
podcasts like yours,
mhm,
and so we really had to study this mushroom and really put it to the test because
mhm,
I'm bringing this product to market. And if kids decided to get irresponsible with this thing, we had to know what would happen. So I did
mhm,
many controlled, journeys, so to speak, ceremonies with a facilitator, a very well known Amanita expert in the
mhm,
forest. I started off with 5 grams, was totally fine. I went back a month later and did 15 grams, had an
mhm,
amazing experience. The final one was all the way up to 21 grams in the forest of this muscimol tea. And some of the best experiences of my life happened on muscimol. It's
wow.
truly it's an amazing ingredient. It's not very well known, but it's very a gentle experience. I've done, ayahuasca. People that know me know
Yeah,
I've
you don't have to worry about vomiting and diarrhea and like you do with ayahuasca.
yeah, it's nothing really compared to that. It's not even in the same building, I would say.
Yeah.
What happened even after the 21 grams, I had to lie down for a while. I
Mm,
was completely horizontal for a few hours. It wasn't any hallucinations. I just closed my eyes and was shown all kinds of amazing insights about life and myself. And I got to ask questions to my subconscious mind, and the answers were just shown to me. And it got
mhm.
to reveal a lot of things about myself, limiting thought belief patterns, bad habits that I had around food, and all kinds of interesting stuff. So it was very revealing.
Mhm. So, it sounds to me that, the reason why, I mean, it's not listed as illegal because it's not considered a threat. I mean, apart from, like, not going into the forest and picking a mushroom and eating it, I mean, we're not supposed to do you potentially have a poisonous mushroom that way. But otherwise, scientists have felt that this is not dangerous. This is why this, product is legal?
Correct. There's no risk to it once it's decarboxylated. There's nothing that
Mhm,
could really happen, and like I said, we put that to the test up to 21 grams. And
mhm.
that's an extremely high dose.
Yeah,
And
how much is in one capsule? Like, how much is
in our product, in the product called Dialed,
Yeah.
there's 50 milligrams of Amanita extract, and that
Mm.
equals 5 milligrams of muscimol.
Oh.
So, we're
Mm.
talking 5/1000ths of a gram. So it's very micro, compared to 21 grams. We're talking,
Yeah, we're
thousands
talking
and
like
thousands.
yeah, so can one even feel the effect with 5 milligrams of muscanol?
Believe it or not, they can. It coats the GABA receptor, especially with our QuickSome technology that I'll dive into
Mm.
after. But
Yeah.
because of our delivery technology, it's delivered right into the bloodstream, a precise dose. It's
Mhm,
not going through the gut and all that kind of stuff. So it's a
mhm,
quick onset. And if the user is feeling any kind of stress, anxiety, panic, the GABA receptor is now coated and binded together, and
mhm.
they just get hit with this wave of calmness. It's pretty cool.
I just jumped the gun by saying it's capsules, but it's not capsules. So why don't you just tell us about the delivery method? 'Cause I think that just makes this product even cooler. Tell us
Yeah,
about that.
it really is. We wanted to make the gold standard of microdosing. Like we talked about earlier, microdosing is getting more and more popular, but
Mhm,
because of the regulations around psilocybin, it may take years for psilocybin to become legal. So when we found there was an opportunity to come out to the market with a legal
mhm,
psychedelic microdose, we really
mhm,
wanted to make it a amazing user experience.
mhm,
We want to be responsible stewards for the mushrooms and psychedelics in general. And we feel like we have a responsibility to people because, if people don't do this the right way, then it leaves a bad reputation for psychedelics. So for us, it's really about helping people with mental health. So anyway, all this to say is we wanted to make it a gold standard version. So we went out and we acquired 14 patents on bioavailability delivery technology called Quixome, which I know
Mm.
you're familiar with. And this delivery technology, it encapsulates the active ingredient in a desiccated liposome, and
Mm-hmm.
that enables it to transfer sublingually to the mucosal.
Mm-hmm.
Basically saying you put this tablet in your mouth sublingually, it melts in your mouth in about a minute, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's transferred directly to the bloodstream, and you're feeling, in this case, very calm in about a minute, which is, it's a very quick release. And because of this, we're also able to be very precise with the dose, so we could
Mm-hmm.
make sure it's a microdose and people aren't, overdosing or underdosing. It's precise and it's a quick
Mm-hmm.
onset, and it
Right.
makes it a wonderful user experience.
That smaller dose goes a longer way. You don't have to give that 5 milligram. Maybe is acting like 50 milligrams potentially. I'm not sure.
Correct, exactly. You're not losing it in the GI tract and liver and all this kind of stuff, like taking most supplements like capsules. So
Right.
yes, it's using more with less, which is really
Mhm.
cool. It helps our business model for sure. It just makes sure that the user is getting everything that they paid for in this microdose.
So, how do you recommend it? How should one take this? Are you saying take one sublingual dose once a day, or how are people doing this?
Yeah, I'd say take one whenever you're feeling dysregulated.
Hmm.
That way you'll notice the difference right away. You're feeling anxious or stressed, take one of the tablets and watch and see how fast you calm down and your nervous system calms down. Then you're going to
Hmm.
be like, wow, this stuff really works. From
Hmm.
then on, I would say, yeah, you could take one once a day. If you take this for 21 days straight, what it ends up doing is it starts resetting your circadian rhythm,
Hmm.
and you're going to have amazing sleep throughout this 21 days. That's what I see with happens with everybody is they start, I get feedback and they're saying, my sleep is just incredible. And that's what we've seen this thing do in the
Hmm.
microdosing with Amanita muscaria book,
Hmm.
is that people were curing their insomnia. They couldn't sleep for years. They tried everything, and then with Amanita muscaria, they're sleeping in. I was at a friend's house on the weekend, and he told me he hasn't slept in till 9 a.m. since he was a kid. And he's a new
Wow.
father and entrepreneur and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, I'm up every
Yeah.
day at 6, no matter
Wow.
what. And he's like, dude, I slept in till 9 a.m. He couldn't believe it. And I was like, yeah, I'm telling you, it's really, really cool stuff. So yeah.
Do you become dependent on it? I mean, that's just some of the concerns. I mean, sleeping pills work on GABA receptors, but people become dependent on them. If anything, they lose effectiveness. What's your thinking about that?
From what I've seen, honestly, and from the book as well, is actually the opposite. Is after about 2 months of use, maybe 3 months,
Hmm.
people don't even need them anymore. That's the thing, is like you've done so much reparations to your GABA receptor, and now it's completely
Wow.
binded together that people they don't even need it anymore. So it's maybe not the best business model for us, but regardless, I know that it's helping people, which is really, really cool. Yeah, it's not dependent at all. Same thing. I've been studying this thing for a year and a half. When I was first developing it, I was taking them quite often. I had a lot of anxiety. I was,
Hmm.
overworking and all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And then after a few months, like I barely even was taking it. I was like, I just
Hmm.
feel so relaxed and so calm. And people were commenting on that. So it's been pretty cool. I think it's very healing. And I know this is a huge, bold statement, and it's very, antidotal, but
Hmm.
I think it even has the potential of curing anxiety, which is pretty
Hmm.
remarkable.
Wow. So tell us about the Amanita mushroom. I mean, you said this has been in consciousness. It's been around for, I assume, thousands of years or centuries, or like, what's the story behind this mushroom? I mean, the way it looks like I've seen it before.
You for sure have seen it, I'm sure,
Yeah,
and I'm sure the audience have seen it too,
not in
right?
the
For that,
Smurfs or something. I feel
yeah,
like I
the
saw the
Smurfs,
Smurfs.
the Smurfs for sure. Super Mario Brothers for anybody
Yeah,
that grew up in the 80s and
yeah,
90s, like definitely seen it in Nintendo
yeah.
games.
So
Oh
it's been
yeah,
used. It's been used for a long time. I mean, it's been used medicinally for a while. Is that correct? I mean, it's not
it
something that
has, yes,
just got
especially in
discovered.
Eastern Europe, and it's the emoji, on our phones, so we're
That's
constantly
right.
using this mushroom, and it's
Hmm.
also known as the story of Santa Claus. If you get into
Right.
it, the folklore, Santa's wearing a red and white outfit,
Hmm.
and they said, in Siberia, the shamans would
Hmm.
go and collect these shiny package looking things under the coniferous pine trees. So
Hmm.
pine
Hmm.
tree is like a Christmas tree, and the
Yeah.
shamans would go and collect these shiny packages,
Right.
which would be the mushrooms, and then deliver them to people through the chimney. So it's like literally the story of Santa Claus, and it gets wilder because they would, the shamans would make tea with this Amanita muscaria
Hmm.
and be all, psychedelic out, and then
Hmm.
they would pee in the woods, and then
Hmm.
their caribou would go and
Hmm.
eat the urine filled snow, and then
Yeah.
the caribou would smell it in there, and then the caribou would get all psyched up. So that's like how they got the story for flying reindeer. So it's like
Right.
there's so
Right.
much connections here to Christmas, the Catholic Church, and all kinds of stuff. So
Part of
this
our heritage, really, our ancient memory.
ancient memory, it's been around
Hmm.
forever, and it's so cool
Hmm.
that this mushroom is finally starting to get known here in the West, and it's coming out because it really does have amazing healing capabilities. And I've seen this mushroom since I was a kid, but I'm only now starting to get familiar with it.
No, I'm so excited. I can't wait to try it myself.
Oh
So,
man.
where does one go to order it, and what's the price like? If you could let people know. And I know we're going to have a code for people to order it, so they get a little bit of a discount. But yeah, if you want to just kind of say where do people order it, I mean, we'll put the code up. But yeah, if you want to just let people know, that'd be
Of
great.
course. Yeah, my pleasure. So it's on eons.com. Right now, it's being exclusively sold online. It's priced at $144. And this is for 60 tablets, so about 2 months supply. So it's pretty affordable compared to most, microdosing that are out there.
Hmm.
And this is the first real, legal, fully legal
Hmm.
psychedelic microdose, so it's a pretty cool thing with this delivery technology that nobody has, and that's what makes it exceptional.
Hmm.
And so far the feedback has been awesome, and of course we happy to give a discount to your listeners so they could try
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
experience this amazing mushroom.
We'll put the code in the notes, and we'll let people know here shortly. What's next? What's next for Eons? Tell us about that.
Well, for now, it's definitely focused on getting this mushroom out there and making a big impact in mental health. That's what
Hmm.
really excites us,
Yeah.
is helping people and helping solve modern day problems.
Hmm.
So when we started this company, Sanjeev, it was really about, okay, what problems can we solve? So we
Hmm.
focused on sleep. That was a big one. And we
Hmm.
feel like we've came out with an amazing sleep product, also using this technology. And then
Hmm.
anxiety was a big one. We know a lot of people are struggling with anxiety out there. So if we could solve the problem of anxiety, we're really making an impact, and that gets
Hmm.
us excited. And then from here, the next thing that I would see happening for Eons is,
Hmm.
once people are starting to feel better and their mental health is starting to, they're dialed in and they're thriving again and they feel well. I'd like to come out with something called that we're working on called the social dose. And this
Hmm.
will be a different legal psychedelic that I'm not going to share exactly what it is yet, but it'll be fully legal. It'll
Hmm.
be very microdosed as well. And it'll
Hmm.
be an alternative for people to have, social, um, a
Relax.
fun type of
Yeah.
thing, where they can
Hmm.
let the guard down without drinking alcohol, without
Yeah.
doing any hard drugs, and they'll wake up in the morning feeling refreshed. And it'll be like just a total different experience as opposed to drinking alcohol, in the sense that there's no toxicity, but you'll
Hmm.
still be feeling loose and you're ready to dance and socialize and this kind of
Hmm.
stuff. And that's something we're working on for the next chapter of Eons.
Awesome. Okay. I think I would love to see if over the next couple of weeks and a month that we could do some check-ins. I'd love to
Yeah,
hear about how, and I mean, I'm happy to share with some of my patients as well. But if there's once people want to come on and give their experiences, I think this could be very interesting.
I
So
would
people,
love that.
yeah. So I'd love to do that because I want to give people updates on my experience with it. I'll let people know probably in about 2 weeks when I've tried it out for a few days, and then we'll see. How's
I
that?
love it. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
I'm
that's
so
perfect. We
excited.
love feedback. That's what it's all about. And hearing the stories, testimonials, I love that. We also are kicking off a study on 50 veterans as well. So we could
Hmm.
have some more data that you and I could dive
Oh,
into and more science based stuff. But I'd love to hear your feedback, Sanjeev. Of course, you've seen so many different products over the years and medications and all this kind of stuff. So really, really
well,
excited to hear your feedback.
I am using the sleep one. I use
Oh,
that,
good.
pretty much 5 days a week. The Eon
Nice.
Sleep wafer, which works really well. I'm very very happy about the delivery system. I'm pretty excited. So I'm telling my listeners out there, click on the link, try this mushroom. You got my backing on it. That the science is there, and I'm going to be giving it to my patients as well. So many of us have anxiety issues, have problems sleeping, and just waking up in the middle of the night just because you're thinking. And I think this probably should really help with that. And if it doesn't cause dependence, that's kind of the worry about why we don't get on sleeping medication. And if we have a solution that's not going to cause that, that's a huge thing. That's
Huge. I
what-
agree.
almost
It's huge.
It's
It's
almost
and
like a lifestyle supplement here. I like to call it. We don't have to call these they're not medications, but almost anybody can improve. That's the way to
yeah,
think about it. There's not
yeah.
not
Almost anybody can
you.
improve. Grandma could take this.
Yeah,
Students could take this.
yeah,
It's like you said, lifestyle. I agree.
yeah. The code is peak human. So go to www.eons.com. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then the code will be peak human at checkout, and that should give you a discount off the product. And we'll put in the show notes as well. All
Awesome.
right. Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you,
We'll chat
Sanjeev. Thank
soon.
you. You betcha.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's talk with Alex from Eons, and we learned a lot today about Amanita muscaria, this mushroom that has huge impacts on improving your health by reducing anxiety, improving your sleep, and unlocking these subconscious memories. It's been a mushroom that's been around for thousands of years, and it's part of our folklore. And now it's available at www.eons.com, and the coupon code for a discount is Peak Human. So I'm looking forward to your feedback on this mushroom. I'll let you know about mine over the next couple of weeks, and we'll take care. We'll talk to you soon.